Welcome back, sports fans. Now, if you've been paying attention to the NFL free agency like I have, then you know that yesterday the Dallas Cowboys signed Andy Dalton to a 1-year, $3 million deal with up to $7 million in incentives and ability to earn type of thing. So, the real question here is, what does this mean for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys? Dak Prescott was drafted 2 or 3 years ago, and he has been the starting quarterback ever since. He came in with Ezekiel Elliott, and they've been doing very well together. Now, last year, Dak Prescott threw for more yards than most of the entirety of the league, and he's feeling pretty high on himself. He also originally signed a very small deal as a rookie, so he has not been earning the same amount of money as most starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's set for a new deal. The question is how much money should he get? Because he wants over $33 million per year if he is going to get a multi-year contract. Currently, he is under the franchise tag for the Dallas Cowboys, which is set around $31.4 million. Andy Dalton, who they just signed, was the starting quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals for an extended period of time. Last year, he got benched partway through the year after an 0-8 start, but eventually came back and ended up winning 2 games, the 2 games that were the Bengals' victories of the season. However, the Bengals drafted Joe Burrow number 1 overall, so no longer have need for Andy Dalton, as they want to have Joe Burrow become the future of their franchise. So, after being unable to trade him, they finally released him and had him available to the free agency market. Now, many people thought that he was going to go to teams like the Jaguars, which I would have been slightly okay with as long as they didn't try to start him, or the Steelers, who need a backup after Ben because he's getting quite old and might retire soon, and also the Patriots, who technically don't really have a starting quarterback at the moment, unless you call Jarrett Stidham, which, I mean, if Bill thinks he's a starter, then he's probably good enough for me. But instead, he went to the Dallas Cowboys, who have yet to work together a deal with Dak Prescott, who wants as much money as the top starters in the league. He wants around $33 million, and to take that into account here, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, even Jared Goff for some reason, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, and Russell Wilson are all making above $30 million. So he thinks he's in the tier of those guys. Those guys have all proven that they can have effective seasons where they're the leader of their team. Once again, except for Jared Goff. And Dak Prescott, who many believe has just been riding off of the weapons around him, such as Amari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott, to be successful in his career. So the question is, if without Dak Prescott, who are their options at quarterback now? Well, as we said, they just signed Andy Dalton. So that's a major upside considering that there are other guys that they had on the team's roster were Ben DiNucci, who they had just drafted in the 7th round. 7th round picks, usually not the guys you want starting as a rookie. And also Cooper Rush, who has 3 pass attempts in his career. So those are not really the most important guys. And since the Cowboys have been trying to get a long-term deal with Dak Prescott over the past couple of years or so, and they've still been unsuccessful, I think it's a very good idea for them to grab Andy Dalton. The Cowboys just drafted C.J. Lamb in the NFL draft to add to an already aspiring wide receiver core, who also has Michael Gallup as well as Amari Cooper. They have a good group there. They have guys that have shown last year they had fantastic seasons offensively, and the weapons that they have, as I keep mentioning, are very good. So to bring in a guy who's had weapons like A.J. Green before, and mostly A.J. Green and only A.J. Green, I think it's a great move to bring in Andy Dalton here. If they are unable to sign Dak Prescott to a deal that he wants, Andy Dalton's a good guy for the season, okay? Then after this year, you go out, and in the NFL draft, you grab a guy early round, and boom, you've got yourself your quarterback. Because Dak Prescott believes that he is one of the top tier quarterbacks in the league, when most people do not agree with that sentiment at all. At the beginning of the season, the free agency and all that, did not expect Dak Prescott to be signed at all. He was one of the teams that I thought Tom Brady had a question of going to because I did not have faith in them signing Dak Prescott. I still don't. I don't think that he's going to be signed this year. I think he'll probably hold out. He might not even play this season because he's not getting the money that he wants. It makes sense to me that if he is as good as he says he is, and with the group they have, they didn't lose anyone on offense. Go in there, do the same thing you did last year, with a different coach nonetheless, Mike McCarthy now there, instead of Jason Garrett. Prove that you are what you think you are. Get your money after that. Or just don't think you're as high as these other guys and take $25 million a year, which I feel like they'd be able to do. $25 million is still a significant amount of money. I don't know why people think they need to have all this money. I mean, people love saying, if I was in the NFL, I wouldn't need all that money. And that's how I feel. But also, I'm not in the same situation, so I don't know. But still, it makes sense to me for you to not want to have as much money so that they have money to pay other guys, so that your team becomes even better. Because the goal of everyone in the NFL should be not to get their bread, to get their money, but it's a Super Bowl. That's the ultimate achievement. You win a Super Bowl, then you can be thrown in any conversation about being one of the greats. Joe Flacco has a Super Bowl MVP, which means he has to be brought up. I mean, he can be thrown aside as soon as he's brought up, but at least he's brought up in the conversation. The Cowboys need someone, they need a team to bring them back to the playoffs, be successful in the playoffs, and go to the Super Bowl, because they've been joked at for a significant amount of time now, because they are this storied franchise that has numerous Super Bowl victories already. And to get back there is important for them to prove that they are still the leading team in that division. I know 2, if not 3, of the teams in their division have won a Super Bowl since they have. The Giants have done it twice, and the Eagles have done it once. I'm not sure about the Redskins, though, but I feel like there's an okay chance as well. They need to do something that will take their team to the next level. Now, I would have assumed that they were going to go after defense more in the draft. They didn't do that as much, so I was expecting because their offense was already good. But a quarterback who isn't as selfish, who will take a $7 million a year deal for maybe not even starting, is good for the team, I think. I think that they have a better chance of going to the Super Bowl under Andy Dalton, playing for incentives to get that $7 million, instead of just the $3 million he has right now guaranteed, than they do with Dak Prescott, who wants 30 however much million a year, and is more focused on him getting his own money than the team actually going to a Super Bowl. And that's a problem that they have with him and their other big star that's of the similar age, and Ezekiel Elliott. He's another guy that they had to re-sign to get his money. Guys need to focus less on getting their money and more on the Super Bowl aspirations and building the team around them so that they can be successful. Because that's really what should be important in the league, not getting your money. If you're getting your money but you're not winning, then what's the point? You're never going to be brought up into be one of the greatest. And the thing for everyone should be trying to be the greatest of all time. That's why Tom Brady's brought up in every discussion. And for the longest time, he did take a pay cut. He re-signed a deal, he started going downhill, and now he's on a completely different team because Bill's like, hey, I can do it with whoever. It was nice to have you who are taking pay cuts or lesser deals than you could have so that we can get more guys in here. But now that he wants all the money and he's not performing as well, he's going to be out of here quickly. He's not going to keep him around. That's why Bill Belichick's one of the best GM coaches in the NFL of all time, if not of all time. So Dak Prescott, here's my message to you. Okay, here's my thoughts. What does this mean for the Cowboys and Dak Prescott? Well, if they don't get a deal signed, I think they're in a better spot than they are if they do get a deal signed with Dak Prescott. The best situation for the Cowboys is to let Dak not play this year. Don't sign a deal unless he comes to you with a lower down expectation. So that way, Dak Prescott, if he wants to come back, he wants to come back not to get his money, but to help the team. Because he realized, hey, look at everyone that we've got. If they put me there, who thinks he's really good, then I can help us push those to the next level and maybe get that Super Bowl, get that playoff. But Andy Dalton here has been in the playoffs before. He hasn't been successful in the playoffs, but he also has a different team here, a different idea of winning here in Dallas than in Cincinnati. So to stop going around in circles saying the same thing multiple times, Point of the story is Dak Prescott, sign a deal, but lower it. Cowboys, if he doesn't lower it, don't sign him. Run with Andy Dalton for a season. Next year, get someone in the draft. Start over in the quarterback area. You already got everything else figured out besides the defense, so maybe focus on that a little bit more too. And you should be good, say in 1-2 years, or maybe even the next year, depending on what the quarterback is. Well, anyways, that's my thoughts on Andy Dalton going to the Cowboys and what it means for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. So, if you enjoy this, you understand. If you don't like what I said at all and think I had the stupidest points possible, let me know in the comments, okay? It's fun for me to see those. Then I can go back to you and we try to, find some common ground there. But anyways, thank you for watching. Make sure to smash like, subscribe, and come back for more expert analysis from yours truly, Mickey G. Thank you for watching. As always, adios.